welcome to the Winning Daily Podcast. We're here for March 22nd, and we got a handful of picks today. Pretty light slate on this Monday. Don't have any soccer, don't have any tennis quite yet, though we are keeping an eye on that Miami Open down there. We'll probably have some of that tomorrow, but today we got a little NHL. We're going to dip into the NHL. We got a couple NBA picks. We're going to bring in our man Dynamite David, and he's going to give us his NCAA tournament second round picks, and then I'm going to give my second round picks for the NCAA tournament. So let's start out in the NHL. We got two picks in the NHL. We got two puck line bets. We're going to go with the New York Rangers minus 1.5 plus 125 versus the Buffalo Sabres. Rangers a little bit hot and cold this year, but I just don't like Buffalo at all. I don't think they're a very good team. I think the Rangers should be able to run this up pretty easily at home. So I like this puck line at minus 1.5 plus 125. I think there's really, really good value there. And then we're going to go with the Minnesota Wild minus 1.5 plus 120 versus the Anaheim Ducks. Minnesota, just a dominant team this year, been one of the better teams in the NHL. Anaheim has been really, really poor. So I look for Anaheim going to Minnesota and really struggling there. So Minnesota Wild minus 1.5 plus 120. All right, let's get into the NBA. What do we have for the NBA today? We got the Cleveland Cavaliers plus 4 versus the Sacramento Kings. Tough bet here. Cleveland has been on a bit of a downslide after their nice little start to the season, and since the All-Star break, they've been really, really poor. The Kings have been a little bit better, but I think the Kings going on the road to Cleveland and laying 4 points, I just don't think that's good value. I think there's really good value here in Cleveland and the 4 at home. I think these two teams should be able to play around even, and we should be able to get that Cleveland plus 4. Next, we're going to go with the Memphis Grizzlies minus 2 versus Boston Celtics. The Celtics have been playing really, really poor basketball. The Grizzlies, I really like their young talent, and I think they'll be able to handle this Boston Celtics team. I look for Ja Morant to really get to the basket here versus the Boston Celtics with little to no rim protection and no one really to guard Ja Morant here. So I look for Memphis to roll in this game minus the 2. And lastly, we're going to take one we don't love, but I think I'm feeling a blowout here. The Clippers minus 6. I think that line's really bloated. It probably should be around 4 versus the Atlanta Hawks, who have been on fire since Nate McMillan took over. But if you start to look at some of the outliers in the Atlanta Hawks, since McMillan took over, they played a really, really weak schedule, including that win the other day versus the Los Angeles Lakers, where LeBron ended up leaving with a sprained ankle. And so essentially they played the Lakers without LeBron and Anthony Davis. So that's not much of a win there. So I think playing a relatively full-strength Clippers team, I think the Clippers will put it on them here. Don't love the 6, but I guess I got to take that tax here if I think the Clippers are going to blow them out. So we're going to lay the 6 with the Clippers, even though we aren't in love with it. All right, let's bring in our man Dynamite David and see what he has for us in round 2 of the NCAA tournament.
Hey everybody, Dynamite David here. I've got 4 picks today in NCAA tournament action. Sorry, I've been out the last couple days, been really busy with a lot of tournament action, been a lot of huge upsets, and it's been a lot of fun, but I've got mostly favorites today. We'll see if it gets back to normal. I'd like UCLA minus 4.5 versus Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian got by Texas defensively, but they won't beat this UCLA team shooting the ball the way they did in the last game. I like Kansas plus 1.5 versus USC in basically a pick'em game. I've got Iowa minus 5 versus Oregon, and I also have Alabama minus 5.5 versus Maryland. Those are my picks for today. Back to you, champ.
All right, Dynamite, thanks for those picks. Those should hopefully be some winners. What do I have for the NCAA tournament in round 2? I got 3 picks against the spread and then 1 4-team money line parlay I'm going with. I did it on BetMGM, so I boosted it up a little bit. I finally used those boosts. I usually let them go to waste because I don't do a lot of parlay betting, but I figured I'd give this one a shot. First, let's go to my spread picks. LSU plus 5 versus Michigan. I thought that was a very impressive win with LSU over the Bonnies. Now, granted, I do have a lot of love for the Bonnies, but I thought the way St. Bonaventures controlled that game, but LSU managed to keep their head in the game and win that game. I just am very curious how they play versus Michigan. LSU really, really has a lot of talent on that team. And if it all sorts to come together, they can make a run here. And the way this tournament is breaking right now, I don't put anything past anyone. So LSU plus the 5. We'll move on to Florida State minus 1.5 versus Colorado. Colorado really, really impressive in their first round game. But I just find this Colorado team a little bit inconsistent. I think Florida State's athletes should be able to handle Colorado here and defend them much, much better than they were defended in their first round matchup. So I'm going to go with Florida State minus the 1.5. And lastly, I'm going to ride Kansas plus the 1.5 versus USC. The Pac-12 has been great in this tournament so far. Can that continue? I don't know. I just think there's a lot of value in Kansas getting plus 1.5 versus a USC team that I haven't liked really all season long, so I look for a lot of value here in Kansas plus 1.5. All right, what do we got for our 4-team moneyline parlay? We're going to ride Gonzaga, UCLA, Alabama, and Kansas all on the money line in a 4-team parlay. Really think this will be a decent parlay. I look for Gonzaga and Alabama to go through pretty clean here and not have too much of a worry. I know in this tournament saying that is probably a death knell, but I think Kansas, Alabama, you got pretty easy. I think UCLA should be able to handle Abilene Christian pretty easy too. I do like this Abilene Christian team. I did take them in the first round matchup. But just think UCLA and Mick Cronin will be able to run some of their sets against Abilene Christian and be able to dominate them. So Gonzaga, UCLA, Alabama, I think are pretty easy money line bets. Then we get to this Kansas one. So essentially you're taking an even money game and getting plus 361 if these other three are as easy as I think they will be. And with my boost, it boosted it up to 401. But if you don't have the boost, then you'll just have to get the plus 361. I do think there's still pretty good value in that plus 361 for the 4-team money line parlay of Gonzaga, UCLA, and Alabama and Kansas. All right, those are my picks for the Winning Daily podcast. Be sure to come back tomorrow as we have a whole new set of picks. Be sure to follow us on greenlightnetwork.org, Greenlight Network on Facebook and YouTube. I'm GLN Champ 5. That's our show, and we're out.